Ultimate Fighting Championship, the multi-billion-dollar mixed martial arts league captivating millions this weekend in a UFC showdown featuring fighters Shogun Rua and Brandon Vera. I talked with the two men about their upcoming fight, the business of the UFC, and a statement by the UFC that it's very possible that one of these men could be next in line for a shot at the coveted light heavyweight title, raising the stakes even higher. As a follow-up to my recent interview with UFC chiefs Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta, here's a look at two compelling personalities from one of the fastest-growing sports in the world.
When he puts it together, it can be a thing of beauty.
Now, Dana White, the head of UFC, has said that either you or Shogun Rua or the winner of the fight between Lyoto Machida and Ryan Bader, whoever has the most passionate fight, will fight Jon Jones, who's the superstar of the UFC. What do you think of that possibility? I know you fought Jon Jones once.
You know, I think that Dana White and the UFC putting that out there, dangling the carrot in front of its fighters, is genius. To be able to dangle something like that and give the guys a bonus for performing well that night is for sure another blessing. You know, it's I think it's a great thing for all four fighters. But for me, the prize is Shogun. I get to fight one of my heroes, man, one of the legends of the sport that's here today still fighting and still banging it out with people. So I'm excited to be fighting this guy.
When you look at Dana White making an announcement like that, it kind of gets the anticipation up there, not just for you and Shogun as fighters, but also for the UFC community, people who are very passionate about UFC. Is that part of the appeal of UFC, that they're aggressive marketers and that Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta are really good at that?
You know, we joke around about it at the gym and stuff. We call it the UFC marketing machine. It's a perpetual marketing machine, man. Like, every event is promoting the next 2 or 3, 4 events, and there's always some big announcement coming out. They're almost like Apple. Like, the way they promote it's always something to look forward to, always something to line up for. So they're doing their job, man. They're doing their thing. Everybody knows UFC. It's not even known as MMA anymore.
Right.
Everybody says, hey, do you do that UFC stuff? Yeah, I guess we do, yeah.
And what are the opportunities that come from that when you are a UFC fighter, from the business standpoint, maybe endorsements, other opportunities?
You know, being a UFC fighter, it opens up the doors to a lot of endorsements, a lot of endorsement deals, not just where you're from, but for me, it's been internationally as well.
Tell me about some of the opportunities
in the Philippines. I got to do a couple of endorsement deals for the San Miguel Brewing Company over there.
And you are Filipino.
Yeah, I am Filipino. I speak the language fluently, so it's nice. It fits. You know, I get to go over there, and I got to do a cameo on one of the TV shows over there. So it's been cool, man. It's been a great experience, man.
Not too long ago, I interviewed Manny Pacquiao, and we talked about the tremendous amount of support from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Do you also see that as a UFC fighter?
Yes, sir, I do. I don't see it on the level of Mr. Manny Pacquiao, but I see it for sure, man. When I remember one time, I knew it was crazy in the Philippines when I walked into a club and there was a famous comedian doing a show. He was in the middle of his skit, and then he stopped and he looked at me, and he said, "Hey, everybody, Brandon the Truth Vera just walked into the house. What's going on?" Yeah, and he just started talking to me like we were cool. And I sat down, and you know, it was cool. It was really cool. Everybody started clapping and cheering, and it was different, man. That's when I knew, like, it's different in the Philippines. It's way different in the Philippines.
Did you see that as an opportunity to capitalize?
My manager, them did for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, San Miguel Brewing Company got in touch with him, and there are some clothing companies over there that want to talk to us. So it's been huge, man. The UFC is it's in a global market now. So they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing.
Brazilian fighter Shogun Rua, speaking through his colleague Julio Heller, says there's a good chance that he'll be the fighter that gets the next title shot. Do you believe you have what it takes to beat Jon Jones?
Of course.
You understood that question, didn't you?
I truly believe, you know, in myself and my team and our strategy, and for sure,
I believe that I can do it.
And though Rua thinks he can beat Vera, he says Vera is a worthy contender. A lot of criticism out there about Brandon Vera because of the fact that he won his last fight, but the previous two, he actually lost. A lot of people think that he's not even equally matched to you, that you're going to probably kill this guy in the ring. Is that a fair assessment, or is he really a true competitor?
He deserves respect, he deserves this chance. There's a guy that has a great background in UFC. He fought in 2 divisions. So he's aggressive like me, a strike like me. We're gonna have an exciting fight next Saturday. The guy deserves respect. The guy deserves the chance.
One look at Vera's life and career shows that giving in to doubters is something that rarely, if ever, enters Vera's mind. He drew on the setbacks and the victories he enjoyed in his long wrestling career before he even thought about becoming an MMA fighter. One thing about you as a fighter is you are just that, a fighter. You've had a lot of things that you've overcome. When you were a college wrestler, then you went into the Air Force and you wrestled with the Air Force. You had nerve damage, which took you out. You ended up being medically discharged from the Air Force. What was that period like for you when you thought that you were going to lose your opportunity to be a fighter?
You know, I didn't even know I wanted to be a fighter when I got out of the military. I lost my spot on the Air Force wrestling team, my spot at the Olympic Training Center, and I was being medically discharged from the Air Force. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no backup plans. The nerve damage was so bad the doctors couldn't even tell me when or if my feeling was ever going to come back in my arm. So, you know, I was just kind of just lost in limbo, I guess you can say, for at least 2 years until my arm started coming back. I got into personal training. Then I found out about jiu-jitsu, and I decided, hey, you know what? I do want to give this fighting thing a go. Let's see what's going on with it. So after rehab and after I got my arm back, I just ran with it.
Fundamentally, wrestling is probably one of the best things that you can do. It seems that way as a mixed martial artist, because so many of you come out of that background. Do you think it's ideal to come out as a wrestler, or would you have liked to start out as a jiu-jitsu fighter?
And I'll say 95% of the guys say wrestling. You know, because you can start it as a young age. You don't get hurt. It's just fun. You're just out there rolling around. You're doing that anyways in the backyard in the dirt, but now you get to learn rules and technique. And as you get older, it gets more competitive. You learn how to grind. You learn how to cut weight. You learn the discipline it takes to make the team, from 3rd string to 2nd string to JV to varsity, you know. You go away for summer camps. So you've been in an environment where it's just all guys for 8 weeks doing the same thing you're trying to do, just get better, you know. So it's really, really closely related to fighting and just the grind. If you were a top wrestler, or at least a decent wrestler, high school, college, and beyond, you're for sure going to do okay in MMA because you already have that mentality.
MMA is such a big part of your life. As I mentioned, your wife is an MMA fighter, your wife, Carrie. First, what's it like to be married to an MMA fighter, and how do you influence each other?
You know, it's nice. It's really, really nice being married to an MMA fighter, man. A lot of guys that aren't married to MMA fighters, or I'm sorry, to women in the sport, around the sport, like somebody might be a model or just some regular girl who works a 9-to-5 job, you know, and they don't understand why you have to be in the gym 8 to 10 hours a day, or when your guy friends call you at 3 a.m. say, let's go to the gym. They don't understand that you're really going to the gym, not to the club or to the bar. You know what I mean? You're not going to go hook up with somebody. You're going to the gym and go get beat on real quick, because that's part of it.
There are so many fighters that want to become more involved in the sport on an ownership side. Is that something that's hard to do, and is it something that you expect will happen in the future with boxers and MMA fighters?
You know, I've learned through trial and error and just hearing and talking to other fighters. A lot of fighters and a lot of trainers, a lot of great trainers are always promised something from owners of gyms, or from other business owners, or from, promoters, anybody, you know. I'm not just talking about on the UFC level. I'm talking from ground all the way up. And I would say don't believe anything, you need to get it in writing. And it's sad, man, because it used to be just a handshake and an exchange of a handshake, and you look each other in the eye and say, yeah, it's gonna happen. It would happen. But nowadays, you need to get it in writing. And I would, how do you say, not promote, but I would ask other fighters to not work at another gym, or if you're working there, work at the gym with the goal to open your own place up, man. It's always best to work for yourself, not for somebody else.
Does this really position you to do that? I mean, it seems like it's a huge platform. You're going to be fighting on Fox, millions of people watching you. Do you think right now, are you at the point where you're thinking about your post-career and how you will leverage this to your advantage?
Am I thinking about my post-career? No. I'm setting up stuff right now just because I think I'm Asian and I just need to be always doing something like that, man.
You said it.
I say it. I'll say it again.
Okay.
That's the Asian blood in me, man.
Okay.
But you know, I always have to be doing something, and why not set up businesses for later on? I have a great team with me at Alliance Training Center, a lot of great partners. I know some people don't like partners in business, but in our case, like you just said, I'm still fighting. I don't want to have to worry about the business end. I have great partners and coaches that take care of the business end for me, so I don't have to. I can just come in, ask questions, and look and see stuff on paper and see the numbers and see the program, see the memberships. You know, I can check on stuff, but I don't have to deal with it every day. So as long as you have a good support team, everything else will fall into place, and I can concentrate on fighting. So that's why it's working.
And this is such a business. You referred to UFC as a marketing machine. In my interview with Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta, I think it was Dana that said, we're bigger than the NFL, you know, which is something that's really hard to conceive for people in North America because the NFL is so big, but on a global level,
it is.
Do you expect it to become bigger?
I expect that it is bigger than the NFL, you know, and it's hard to say that here in the States because football, man, come on, what's Super Bowl? It's the busiest time of year. That's the busiest day for everybody, from pizza vendors to beer companies to fast food companies. Like, that's their day, you know. The rest of the world, I've been around the world. The rest of the world doesn't care or even know anything about the NFL, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Now, and that's why they said that they believe that they're trying to rival soccer.
Yes, sir.
And that football across the world, that
yes,
they
sir.
can become bigger than the biggest game out there. Is that possible?
I think so, you know, I think so. Not everybody has ever wanted to play soccer. Not everybody has ever wanted to go run back and forth and kick a ball. No, but everybody, from your pastor to the little 2-year-old child to your 80-year-old grandmother, has at one point in their life been mad enough where they wanted to punch somebody. So everybody in the world can relate to fighting on one level or another, you know? They can understand. If you're into the professionalism of this, you can look at some of the fights and think it looks like ballet when two guys are moving well together and the fight is a beautiful fight. It can look like ballet. Or if you're just into the blood and gore of it, that happens once in a while. But everybody can relate to a fight. Like, everybody's wanted to slap or punch somebody before. So that's why I think they can do it, man. I think, and with the way the UFC is doing it, yeah, it's gonna happen.
What has your experience training been like, and have you trained any differently for this one?
Have I trained any different? Yes. You know, my fight is 5 rounds. I've only fought 3-round fights so far. Shogun's had the benefit of being an experienced fighter going into deep waters for 5 rounds. So as soon as our 8-week mark hit, I started training hard 5 rounds all the time. Whether it was sparring, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning, circuits, whatever it was always 5 rounds. And we've done 5 rounds in the past, but not consistently. You know, like, maybe today's gonna be a hard day, you got 5 rounds today. The only other person I've ever watched do 5 rounds consistently is Dominic Cruz. He's the champ, 135, and he trains at Alliance, so he's always doing 5 rounds, 5 to 8 rounds. So training 5 rounds for sure is different, but I think after the first 3 weeks, I found my rhythm and got right back into it.
You've gone through a lot in your career. You've won some fights, you lost some fights. There are people out there who believe that you don't deserve to be in contention for a chance to fight Jon Jones again, that you don't deserve to be fighting Shogun. You beat Elliot Marshall in your last fight, but you had 2 losses before that. Do you think it's a fair thing to say that you shouldn't get another shot at Jon Jones?
I think opinions are like, you know how the saying goes. Everybody has one. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I just know I'm fighting on Fox against Shogun. I beat him, I'll get a shot at Jones. So keep your opinion, but face the facts, baby. I'm here and it's happening.
What are the things that you have to look out for Shogun?
Shogun, man, he's a dangerous striker on his feet. He's got great jiu-jitsu on the ground, and he's headstrong. He doesn't ever quit, man. He doesn't quit. His last fight with Dan Henderson was a super epic battle, man. He lost the first 3 rounds, hands down. And he won the last 2 rounds, hands down. You know, and it wasn't his conditioning or, you know, his will to win. I just think it was his pride. You know, 2 rounds left, he's still trying to finish the fight because he wanted to win that bad. And I think it was his pride that pushed him through. He's headstrong, man. He's going to be coming. So he's a well-rounded fighter, and he's been one of my heroes. So I'm looking forward to a good fight on August 4th.
You've also been a real fighter yourself. You were actually cut from the UFC after you lost to Thiago Silva, but then you were later reinstated after it was revealed that he had failed the post-fight drug test. You then came back and you won your next fight. But when you were cut from the UFC, what kind of effect did that have on you?
Depression, you know. First 24, I don't even remember the first 24 hours, 24, maybe even 48 hours. I probably just sat in the same spot on the couch, watched TV. I don't even know it was on TV, you know, just sitting there like, wow, man, really, this is how it went down? Good job, B. Look where you put yourself. And then,
did you really feel that way, hard on yourself?
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. The reason why I lost everything, you know, the reason why my career has been like this is my fault. It's totally my fault, and I can't blame nobody else. I can't blame my coaches. I can't blame my training partners. I can't blame anybody else. I can't blame the guy that fought me. It was me, you know? And I guess I just had to grow up, man. I've had to grow up and realize.
What do you think was holding you back?
My ego. For sure, my ego.
How does your ego cut into your ability?
Man, if you think that you're the best in the world and nobody can tell you any different, why do you need to train for? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I just had to grow up, man. I had to get smacked around a little bit more, find people to beat me up and rotate them around and learn about myself. Become a man. Stop trying to be this little teenage kid boy and think that I can just do stuff because of my name, you know? I had to grow up.
That's a very resounding theme. It's something that you hear from some of the greatest fighters on the planet, including Manny Pacquiao, who said that he had to do a complete overhaul, not only of his training regimen, but also of his life. Do you think that you've made drastic changes in your life in order to accommodate this and to win this fight?
I would say I've made drastic changes in my training and in my attitude towards life. I think so, yeah. My attitude towards life and what the UFC means to me, I've changed a lot. So yeah, I would say yes.
You know, you have done a lot over the years. I could see you having a career as a trainer in the future. What advice do you give to young fighters, people that actually want to become involved as a fighter?
It's like any other professional sport. A lot of guys want to do this. A lot of guys won't. You're going to have to persevere. You're going to have some bad relationships. You're going to have bad credit. And you're probably going to sleep on your friend's or your aunt's couch, your mom's couch. And that's just because you're not going to have time to work, but you're going to need all that time that you do have free to train. So I need you to expect to be broke, for people to tell you you can't do it, and for people to tell you that you're crazy.
Does that force you then to really think like a business person in terms of putting together a team and the infrastructure that you need around you to really make a serious push to becoming a UFC fighter?
I would say that comes later on. When you're first starting out, everybody's just going to doubt you. You're not going to have money and it's not going to be fun. But you need to go through that growing cycle to see if you're worthy of actually even making it to a C-class show, then to a B-class, then to an A-class, hoping to get the call from the UFC. You're going to have to go through those steps. There's no shortcuts.
For the Business of Celebrity, I'm Lee Hawkins.